Hey everyone, Danaboon here. Today's video features a tournament matchup against the player Hooked from Hokuten, running an Ayaka Sid Engelbert team against my Ziza Sid Ayaka setup. Most likely we're going to see Ayaka with her Time Mage sub-job to cast haste while still offering Kiraga regen and her limit break. Sid is most often run as Samurai for his TP skills such as Devotion and Illusion, but also just as important is being able to build that AP from using his TP pool. As I'm sure most of you have seen, he's a melee unit with extraordinary range on his skills, but if he's out of AP, he still has only that range 1 auto attack. Engelbert is most likely going to be assigned his Paladin subjob to make the most use out of his role as a defensive engager. Skills like Sentinel, Saintly Wall, and Immortal Spirit will keep him alive and also give him access to Taunting Blade's range and attack power, despite its hefty cost of 44 AP. On my ends, I'm running in an evasion-based party with that vision card trifecta of party agility, luck, and just flat-out evasion. My Ziza is running as a thief to access those incredible TP skills like Shadowcast, Steel Heart, and Steel Vision, but also to chain with slash attackers like Sid with Snipe Dagger, which actually can do surprising damage coming from Ziza as her role as a hybrid support attacker. Sid is Samurai as expected, and Ayaka is Time Mage as well. So my strategy going into this is to utilize evasion buffs like Shadowcast and Illusion, and then shift on the offensive after getting hasted so that Ziza can start charming the opponent's units while Sid follows up with some key positioning and then damage abilities. Ayaka is my ace in the hole in case healing full life or wholly is necessary, depending on my opponent's party dynamic. One last note, I streamed this match live on my Twitch channel and neglected to turn off the chat box, so you'll get to see some extra commentary from some of my viewers. Anyways, let's get into it. So my initial approach almost invariably is to use my first turn to kind of scout my opponent's units, noting as quickly as possible things like bravery, faith levels, total HP pool, how their agility compares to my units, and possibly resistances, depending on the unit. Due to the interesting dynamic of this tournament not allowing TMRs to be used, I'm forced to consider other ways to build AP in that crucial first turn before I'm ready to start applying my limited turn buffs. It's important to take tournament rules into account like this to adjust your strategy accordingly instead of possibly wasting time in the middle of a turn trying to figure out alternatives on the spot. So that's why we see that meditation buff being used there. Alright, I'm expecting to see Sid over here with the illusion. It's a great party buff, and it's surprisingly effective on pretty much any team, even if you're not going trying to build evasion. Here my Ayaka is trying to just put haste on Ziza as soon as possible instead of using Mont's TMR to build her agility like I normally would. And I'm not going to waste any more CT on movement when I want her to go again as soon as possible. I'm expecting Hooked to use haste as well from Ayaka on her first turn. Alright, so kind of trading hastes on both sides here. Alright, so haste on Engelbert is interesting. I think that's to compensate for how slow he is normally. But haste is better used on units with higher agility because it'll get them to go faster. Still not a bad play. Alright, so we see the Immortal Spirit. It's good to apply that as soon as possible just to get in that Guts ability. I would also have expected to see Saintly Wall for the shield for the next 3 damaging skills he takes. Alright, so here I check out on the turn count to see how fast these will get to take her next turn. Pardon my grammar there. And I see that she's going again, so I'm just going to pass before using up CT on a skill. Alright. So I'm just trying to position Sid here in the best way possible, but I think instead of... so I checked the turn order, and I think I'm just going to keep him back with Ayaka instead of wasting CT here. It's important to take into account how much CT you're using, because you never know how that's going to affect the course of the battle. Alright, so here I need to decide which unit to kind of invest my engaging skills with. And so I'm checking out to see who I want to charm, and I see that Sid has 97% chance, so I'm going to take a Sid, especially since he's going next. That's the best way to use charm in PvP that I've seen, is to look at whoever's going next and try to charm them if possible, so that it keeps the charm from being broken before you're ready for it to be. Alright, here I'm expecting to see Holy from Ayaka and hoping to survive the damage on Ziza, but it looks like instead my opponent is choosing to go to break the charm on Sid. Okay, I agree with the priority here being to remove the charm as fast as possible, but looking at the turn order, Ziza is going to be able to reapply the charm before Sid gets his next turn. So ultimately attacking Ziza here I think would have been the better move, considering her natural weakness to Holy. Sid is starting to move up and apply his attack buffs to get the most damage as possible. Alright, and here I believe Engelbert is trying to cut off that choke point to keep Ziza from moving forward on that route. And yeah, so the Sentinel buff is to just minimize the amount of damage he might take from Ziza. But I'm not really interested in attacking Engelbert when I have better targets. So I'm trying to decide here if I want to try to one-shot Ayaka. I see that I can't, so instead I think I might just apply another charm on Sid. I'm hoping that he will focus on Ayaka instead of Engelbert. We'll see if that's the case. Alright, so here I'm trying to decide if I want to get close in order to support Ziza more, or if I want to just kind of stay back and, you know, apply haste on myself. It looks like I decide that just, you know, kind of a mix between the two. Not moving as close as maybe I could have, just in case it leaves her in a vulnerable position, but also applying haste, being able to go faster. Okay, so here we see Sid. Instead of going after Ayaka, he goes for Engelbert again. That's fine, as long as he's staying occupied and out of the fight. Alright, so here I'm positioning Sid for an attack, and here's where I try to decide if I want to start damaging Ayaka here, or if I want to see if I can get off a good charm. In live PvP, it's all about these swings and the pacing of the battle. And so charm is surprisingly effective in setting up those swings that can affect the course of the battle. Here with that 67% chance charm, I'm going to pause it for a sec. That was really important. I got super lucky there. Even though she's at max faith, Ayaka has an innate 15% resistance to being charmed, which is interesting because barring any further factors from gear or whatnot, it seems to have translated to an overall 30% to my chances to charm her, as it should have been a 97% chance there otherwise. Alright, and since that wasn't on purpose, we're going to ignore that TMR being used. Gonna move forward here, and I think my opponent is forced to make a decision here, facing two charmed units and my own two attackers really close by. So we'll see what he decides to do. Alright, so it goes for the charm break on Sid. That's important because Sid is going to be, he's actually going to be able to attack. And I like how Engelbert goes to cut off the choke point so that my Sid can't move past him and get a better shot at his Sid. Alright, so here I'm kind of checking out to see what my options are. Apparently I neglect the range 3 on a lot of those skills. For some reason I must have thought that they were 4. So instead of wasting the move, I'm just going to go for the Crush Armor on Sid here. If my Sid gets taken out, then it'll still allow Ziza to finish him with a snipe dagger. Alright, and so we'll see what his Sid decides to do. In his position, I would go for the Shadow Blade to regen as much HP as possible and keep him in the fight. I like that I've kind of been able to force him to make that. Okay, so here's the Shadow Blade. And that miss was huge. That's another swing in my favor. Because of that illusion buff, he was able to dodge. Alright, and so here I kind of just decide to keep Ayaka out of it. She's not really necessary right now. I don't want to get too close to that Sid, just in case, if he gets off like a lucky dodge. Alright, so I have an opportunity for Ziza here to take out his Sid with that snipe dagger chain. Alright, so I see that I can do so, but looking at the turn order, I see that Sid is also going to have the chance to go before his Sid. So I think what I'm going to do here is build up a chance to one-shot Ayaka while she's still vulnerable. Alright. Interesting choice by the AI there. Alright, so as you can see, it's an easy finish with just an auto attack. Might as well just do that just to build AP if necessary. Alright, so here's my chance to bring in Ayaka. Now that it's pretty much Engelbert left, I think I'm going to decide to engage here with Ayaka's Holy, as it will be the most effective attack against his physical defensiveness. Yeah, here we go. I have to decide here whether it's worth bringing her close enough to be attacked, and I think ultimately, yeah, I decide it's worth the risk, due to Ziza and Sid being able to close out the match if needed. Alright, and so here is here's the one shot with her limit break. I know people that aren't fans of Ayaka will enjoy seeing that. Alright, so now it's up to Engelbert to kind of decide how to try to come back from this. I would definitely go to engage Ayaka here. To see if we can maybe one-shot her with a Taunting Blade or maybe a Saintly Cross. It looks like he goes for the Saintly Cross here. Let's try to get a better view of this. Okay. Must be trying to figure out the range on it, whether it's better maybe to engage with a Blade Bash. And it looks like he unfortunately ran out of time before he was able to. So that's a bummer. Alright, the Holy takes out about half of his hit points. So much damage. Alright, so as we're approaching the end game of the match, I'm thinking of moving Ziza forward to finish it as soon as possible. No one likes a bad sport, obviously. But looking at the turn count, I see that building slash chains will be the most effective option, so I go for that snipe dagger. So here, yeah, definitely go for that. Crush armor for that defense debuff if I need it. And I think I'd like to move into melee range, yeah, to cut off Engelbert from being able to close with Ayaka. Alright, so I see that both of my attack spells aren't going to be able to go before Engelbert does. I'm still at a risk from Taunting Blade here due to being in range and being able to take a lot of damage from that strong attack, but I'm not too worried at this point about it changing the outcome. Alright, so he goes for that Saintly Cross, getting used for that nice effect, nice effect with that damage for Engelbert's final turn before seeing that Comet. Interesting animation there and fun to see when normally you'd really only expect to see Holy get used. Alright, and then Ziza closes out the match with an auto attack. Alright, GG. Thanks for watching. Shout out to Hooked for the match. His guild, Hokuten, is one of the top guilds in global right now, sitting at, I believe, rank 2 in Gold 1, and overall rank 13 on global. Really impressive. Shout out to our good friends, Longtime Twitch, for investing the time and energy in organizing the PvP circuit. You can find him at his Twitch channel in the description. For anyone just tuning into my videos, I enjoy casting and commentary on live PvP matches. If you're interested in involving me in one of your matches, either live streamed or recorded, or if you just like to talk about the match you just saw, let me know in the comments. I'm also available on my Twitch stream in the description below. Like or subscribe if you'd like to see more like this, because I'm definitely going to keep them coming. Alright, see you next time.